this lesson, I'd like to talk about adding text. If memory serves me correct, this initial segment that I've got here, I believe the text that we need to add, or the narration that is being said by Andrew Tate, is something along the lines of, life is not a walk in the park. But let's go ahead and have a quick listen.
Life as a man is not a walk in the park.
So what he actually says is, life as a man is not a walk in the park. Now, in order to add text, what I want to do is go over to my media panel, and next to audio, we have the option to click text. If I go ahead and click this, I'm now greeted by a host of options, but at this moment, I'm just going to go ahead and click on default text. So I'll hit the plus icon to add to track, and as you can see, I now have on my timeline this track called default text, and over in my adjustment panel, I have all sorts of features which I will go over shortly. So let's go ahead and condense this particular track just to cover the section that we're interested in. Over in the player panel, you can see we have default text written, and in the adjustment panel, I'm just going to highlight the text and change this to what the narration actually is, life as a man. And to be honest with you, because we're doing a vertical video, I would never advocate for adding more than 1 to 5 words. Generally, you want your subtitles on one line. Therefore, what we want to do is move our playhead to the point where this particular sentence has already been said.
Life as a man,
which is around about here. Now, what I'm going to do is split this text track just by clicking the split function, or you can go ahead and hit Command B or Control B. Now, that allows us to have 2 separate default text layers on the same track. So at this point, I want to change the text to is not a walk, and then I'm going to do the same with the remainder of the narration.
Life as a man is not a walk in the park.
So here we go. Is not a walk in the park. At this point, I want to start going into the variety of features we have within the adjustment panel related to text. So with my text highlighted, I can change the font size. I can go ahead and change the style, the color, character. I can even go ahead and add a preset style, which changes the background. It might change the text, add a stroke. All of these different varieties you can go ahead and check out for yourself. I quite like this one. And then from there, you can also change the position, which relates to where the text is on your clip. And you can also do this just by clicking and dragging the text itself. I'm going to leave it centered. You can change the blend mode. You can change whether you want a stroke or not. You can add a background, which then gives you a further set of options. You can add a glow, shadow, all that great stuff to enhance your text. Now, with that being said, I actually want my text all to be in capitals. So I'm going to go ahead and make that adjustment. Notice how each of these do not have the new settings applied. And what you actually need to do is highlight all the layers in your timeline and then go ahead and apply the settings that you want. And there you have it. We now have added text to our video. We've added a preset style. Of course, it's entirely up to you what you want to do with your text. Over in the adjustment panel, you can also click on font and then choose a variety of fonts that might suit your particular creation. I quite like this font, which is Atomic Maker. And what I now want to do is bring some animation to this text. And to do this, it's fairly simple within CapCut. You can either, in the adjustment panel, move over to effects or bubble. I don't necessarily recommend bubble. As you can see, not really my style, so I'm just going to hit the default on that. However, if you go over to effects, you now have a variety of effects that you can add to your art. And again, this relates to your creativity. You may not necessarily want to use an effects preset. However, some of them are decent. I'm going to go ahead and go with this particular style here. And then over in my media panel, you have another button called effects, which does essentially the same thing. At this point, I'm relatively happy with how the text looks like, but as I've mentioned, I want to bring some type of animation into this. So with the text layer highlighted, over in the adjustment panel next to text, I have animation. So if I go ahead and click on animation, you are all familiar now with how animation or how the drag and drop system is in CapCut. It is really cool, and from here you can go ahead and check different styles, different trends. Again, as you all know, I like to keep things fairly subtle. So I've got a fade in animation here. So if I just download this and apply this onto my clip, you can see over in my text layer, we now have the animation applied to it. So there we go. We've got this very subtle fade in of the words. Now, again, in order to have this applied across the entirety of my text layers, I need to highlight them all, go back into animation, and then apply the fade in animation. Okay, fast forward a few minutes. I've gone ahead and applied everything I've just shown you across 5 to 6 seconds of the clip, just so you can go ahead and see what it looks looks like. So let's go ahead and hit play.
Life as a man isn't all walk in the park. It's like a video game. You start from absolute nothing. You start from zero.
And there you go. That is how you would add text, add some effects to those texts, whether it's a preset, whether it's you playing around and creating your own style for the text, and how you can go ahead and add some type of animation to the text.